Okay, we are going to do something a little different today. We are going to make a ruffle zipper pouch. So buckle up and hang in there, and I think you're going to create something amazing. Let me go through the measurements for you. This is our outer fabric, and I'm just using some simple cotton material. And you want two pieces that are 9 inches across by 6 inches down. Okay? Two pieces, 9 inches across, 6 inches down. Don't worry, I'm going to have all this information in the description. You also want a lining piece. You want to, again, same as your outer measurements, you want 9 inches going across, 6 inches down. Then you want to have two pieces of interfacing, okay? This particular interfacing I'm using is a Fusible interfacing by Pellon, and it is the number 911F for Fusible. You can also use Shape Flex, which is an interfacing that also works well on bags. So that's your choice, okay? So that's that measurement. Then we have zipper tabs, okay? These little guys are going to go on the ends of our zipper. We need two, and you want to cut these 3 inches, so 3 inches across by 1.5 inches down, okay? Again, 3 inches across by 1.5 inches down. If you are using a directional print, we're going to end up folding these this way, okay? And they're going to lay like this. So if that helps you in your placement of your fabric. All right, and then you want a zipper, okay? This particular zipper I have is a little longer than my project. It's just one I had on hand. It is 12 inches. So you want to at least have a zipper that's at least 9 inches to 12 inches long, okay? So that it will reach the length of our bag. And then lastly, we have our ruffle strip. And this ruffle strip is really long, okay? It is 32 inches long, okay? 32 inches long by 4 inches, okay? So 32 inches long by 4 inches. All right, those are all of our pieces that we need to create this project. So now let's do what we do. And that means let's put our interfacing onto our outer material, okay? The next thing I'm gonna do after I finish ironing the interfacing to the outer fabric is I'm gonna take my pieces here that are my tabs, my zipper tabs, and I'm just gonna fold them in half, just like so, and I'm gonna press, all right? I'm gonna do that for both those pieces. And then next, another prep thing I'm gonna do before we start sewing is I'm gonna take my ruffle and I'm gonna fold it the long way, okay? So I wanna fold it this way so that I keep my length. And I'm gonna press that in half, okay? I'll see you back in a moment. All right, real quick, for those who haven't worked with interfacing before, the Fusible interfacing has a bumpy side. You can feel the bumps. That's your glue side, and it has a smooth side, okay? We want the bumpy side to go on the back of our material, okay? And because this is a lightweight, what I like to do is take my interfacing, lay it down so that the bumpy side is up, I can feel it, and then take my outer material and lay it down where it is right side up, just like so. All right, you can tell I love that word. Anyway, take your iron and you're gonna just lay it over it for just a few seconds at a time. And what that does is that heat begins to activate that glue, okay? And I want you to do that for both of these pieces. All right, now let's take our zipper tabs and let's fold them in half, and we're just gonna iron them. We're gonna lay those to the side, and we're gonna take our ruffle, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna begin to press this in half. Again, remember lengthwise, press it in half, okay? Okay, our first step is going to be to add the zipper tabs to the zipper. So we need to mark where they're going to go on this zipper. Now, there's a million ways to do this. I'm just going to show you one simple way to do it, and hopefully it will work for you. So what I do first is, this is my stopper of my zipper. And what I do is I measure in 1.5 inches from the end, okay? And I draw a line across the teeth there. You can take a ruler. If you have a cutting mat, obviously you can just look at the cutting mat and measure, but you can take a ruler and, like I said, measure in 1.5 inches from that end, and you're gonna draw a line, okay? Straight across. I'm using a Frixion pen. This is great because it disappears with heat, and I love it. I don't have to worry about it showing back up on my project. All right, so we have our first line. Can you see that there? We have our first line going across, all right? And then from there, we are gonna measure 7 inches. And we're gonna do the same thing again, this time on the left end here. So we've measured here, 7 inches across, and then we're gonna draw another line. Let's do that measurement. And what I do is I just put my line on 7 here, okay, so that it's lined up with my line I've already made. Make sure that I'm straight. All right, and then I'm gonna draw a line. It's kind of tricky when you're trying to do it one-handed. Okay, here we go. All right, so now if I take my ruler and I measure here, I am right at 7 inches, okay? Can you see that? I'm right at 7 inches. All right, so that's how we measure where to put our zipper tabs. The first thing we're gonna do is take one of your zipper tabs. You remember how we folded it? Take that folded side and you're gonna line it up right on the line you made. It's gonna hang over your zipper. I wanted to give you some playroom so that, you know, you were comfortable in sewing it. So you're gonna have a little overage with your material, but line the folded side up onto that line, okay? So that means your raw edge, your open end, should be opposite on the right side, okay? Line that up there, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a pin and we're gonna pin it. And I'm just gonna pin kind of like at an angle, okay? That way it holds really well. Do the same thing with the other side. pin at an angle there, okay? And that kind of holds it in place, all right? Let's go sew that first. Okay, let me show you where this stitch line is going to go for this zipper tab. It is going to go about 1/8 of an inch from that fold all the way across the zipper, okay? So I want you to be careful. You're going to line it up. I have mine on the inside of my presser foot here, and I have my needle to the left so that I'm close to that fold, but not too close where I'm missing the fabric. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to stitch across. You're going to reverse like we always do in the beginning, and then you're going to continue on. Now, be careful as you go across the zipper teeth, okay? So that you don't break a needle. If you do, it's okay. You can change it. And then once you get across, you can reverse. All right? And so your zipper tab should look just like so, okay? All right, I'm gonna show you how to do the other side of the zipper. All right, so see, we have this zipper pull. We wanna make sure that we keep the zipper pull and not stitch across and we don't have a zipper pull. So what you wanna do is you can go ahead and unzip it, and you're gonna unzip it past our stitch line that we have here that we made. Now, we wanna put a little bit of reinforcement there so that we can keep these two zippers teeth together, okay? So what you're gonna do is just go under the machine and about 1/2 inch away from where our line is, and you're just gonna stitch across, okay? Just to give it some support. You're gonna stitch across, and then I want you to go back across those same teeth. We're giving it some reinforcement. Now go forward again. And let's go back across one more time. All right, good. Now what you're gonna do is, let's just cut that thread out of the way. All right, so now we've got those two guys together and nicely supported. So now take your zipper tab, again, the folded side, you want to place on the line, okay? Place them on the line there, and let's put some pins in to support them and to hold them in place. And I'm going to be coming from this angle, so I'm going to pin this way. Sorry for that turnaround, it's just turned it around so I didn't have to change my needle. All right, and now that you have it pinned in place, we're gonna stitch right across, okay? Again, lining it up like we did with the previous tab. Let's reverse back, and then we're gonna go on across. When you get across, you're gonna reverse. All right, great job, okay? Take your pins out, make sure you cut your threads, all right? Okay, this is what our zipper tab on the zipper should look like. Great job. All right, let's cut some of this zipper off, okay? So we're gonna go back here on the back. we're going to take our scissors, and just before that metal area, we are just going to cut that off. Okay? Let's do the same with the other side. Fold that fabric back. You see I'm folding that fabric back. Sorry if that blurred up. And we're just going to cut on the other side of where our stitch line was for reinforcement. Okay? All right. Now, if you want to, at this point, you can take a lighter and, you know, kind of burn those ends if you want to, but it's not something that you have to do. Okay? So now our zipper looks like this, and it functions properly. Okay? Great. Now what we're going to do is we are going to attach our zipper to our outer material. Okay, in order to attach our zipper to our main fabric, we need to remove the overage of fabric that we have there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you can just turn your zipper over here. And if you have a ruler, take your ruler, line yourself up with your zipper. See how I'm lined up with the zipper here? And if you have a rotary cutter, which would be fabulous, take your rotary cutter and we're just going to cut along there. If you don't have a rotary cutter, then draw yourself a line. You can use chalk or a marking pen, depending on what you have, and then you can cut with scissors, okay? And we just cut that off. Do the same with all the other sides. All right, so your pieces should look just like this now. Now we're nice and flush with the zipper tab right there, okay? Very good. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our outer material, just one at a time, and we're gonna take this. We are gonna find the center of both pieces, okay? So you can take your outer fabric, fold it in half, okay? And then you can just make a little snip, not much, just a tiny snip, so that that marks your center. Now, you see the little V? Good. All right, do the same thing with your zipper tab. And your zipper here, I keep calling it zipper tab. With your zipper, we're gonna mark both sides. Tiny little snip, very tiny, very tiny. All right, that's our center. And then let's go ahead and take our other outer piece, fold it. Now this is directional print, so make sure you're at the top. Again, make a little snip. All right, we got our V. Why we did that is so that we could match up the centers of the zipper with the center of our outer fabric, okay? Because remember, we had a little bit of playroom, and so we want to make sure we have everything lined up properly. All right, so we're going to take our zipper. We are going to fold it down, okay? So fold it over so it's face down on our main fabric. And we're going to line up our V's. See how our V's are lined up right here? Look at there. It's fabulous. All right, we're gonna line up our V's and we're gonna pin it in place because we need to cut off any excess of the zipper tab. I know these are a few extra steps in what you might be used to in smaller projects, but trust me, this is gonna turn out great. So here, if you see on the side here, that's hanging over. We wanna cut that where it's nice and flush with matching up our outer fabric, okay? So take your ruler again, line yourself up, make sure you're nice and straight. You can keep from slipping like I'm slipping. And then you're gonna cut right across. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut some of that interfacing off. All right, if you got a little bit of your material, it is okay. It's not the end of the world. All right, go ahead and do the same thing with the other side. Line yourself up. And go ahead and cut, okay? All right, we are nicely lined up with our main fabric. Okay, you guys are doing good. Now let's add our lining piece before we stitch our zipper down. We're gonna sandwich this all together in one step, okay? What you wanna do, keep your outer fabric face up, okay? Your zipper is facing down. And then you wanna take the printed side of your lining and face it down so that it is right sides together with your outer fabric, okay? So pretty side to pretty side there. And we're gonna line it up at the top of our material here, okay? So what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that you have all 3 layers lined up together about as best you can. We're only human, okay? Line those 3 layers up, all right? And I'm gonna use pins with this just because it helps keep that zipper in place really, really well. All right, and that pin that I already have there, I'm just gonna slide it out, line these babies up. I'm pinning at an angle rather than straight because I have the zipper teeth there and I don't want to end up pushing one of those out of place and cause my zipper to not function like it needs to. So that's why I pin at an angle. All right, go ahead. Let's do this in and then we'll come back in. If you have a little bit of overhang, it's okay. We can clean it up after. Again, you're doing good. Take this pin out. All right, so the top of your material should look like this, okay? Pin right across the top, and we're gonna go stitch that. In order to sew the zipper down, we've got to change our presser foot. I know you probably have never changed your presser foot before. Maybe you have, that's cool. What we're gonna do is we're gonna change this out for a zipper foot. Zipper foot looks just like this, okay? For this particular machine. This is a Brother SE 600, okay, is what I'm sewing on. What you wanna do is take this off just by pressing the button in the back, and that's gonna release it. Go ahead and move it to the side. We'll come back to it in a moment. And this particular foot is the I foot. It has a left side and a right side, okay? You want to be on the side that's going to allow you to be closest to the zipper teeth. Okay, so what that looks like is this. We're going to be traveling like this because our zipper is right here if I feel on my fabric. So that means I want to be on that left side. So if you take it, you're going to grab this bar that's across there, lower your arm down, and he just snaps just like that. Did you see that? I'll do it again. So hold it, lower your arm down, and he grabs and picks up that presser foot, just like so. Okay, we are getting ready to stitch our zipper in place. And what we want to do is we want to move the head, the zipper pull, out of the way of our beginning stitching. So we're just going to unzip that just about halfway, okay? All right, and that kind of helps him lay down as you start. We're going to line up our fabric with our presser foot here. This area here I like to call the tongue. It's like the tongue of the presser foot. And you're going to line it up right with the edge here. Our needle is in the center position. I know it's kind of hard to tell that, but it is. And we're just going to stitch straight down. When we start to get close to that zipper pull again, what we'll do is we'll stop and we'll pull it forward so it's out of our way. All right, let's go ahead and stitch forward and do our reverse stitching. And one thing to be mindful of is when you're sewing a zipper, sometimes it likes to pull away from you. And so it helps to have the teeth there that you can kind of help keep it lined up, okay? And just take your pins out as you go. Now, I'm getting close to my zipper pull. So I'm going to just stitch a little bit more. All right, so lift up your presser foot. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our zipper pull here and we're gonna slide him forward, okay? Just like so. And then we'll come back, we'll make sure everything's nice and flat, lower our presser foot down, and we'll continue the zipper. When you reach the end, go ahead and reverse. Oh my goodness, let's see what we got. Look at that. Look at that. We have one side in. That looks so good. That looks so good. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the other side. Okay, now we've got one side attached. We've got to do the other side. Y'all are doing good. We're going to put that to the side. Let's grab our other piece. Now, let's make sure we're going the same direction, okay? And don't have anything upside down. Take the one that you've sewn, and you're gonna flip it over and place it. Remember where we had our little dips, our center markings? Line it up, all right? So it should look like this when you separate it. Right sides are together, all right? Just like so. And then take your lining piece, take your right side, flip it over, line it up with the top so that when you fold it back, right sides are touching each other on the lining side, okay? So this is how it should look on the back. Yes, you are covering up that zipper. We're lining it up at the top. Again, we've got all of our layers together and we're going to pin across. Just like so. And if y'all have hung in here this far, I am so proud of you. You are doing great. So keep pinning until we get all the way across, okay? All right, let's take it to the machine and sew it. Before we sew, let's check a couple things, make sure we're good to go. Your side that you're going to be sewing is on the lining side, and so it should look like this. If you were to turn it over, you should see the interface side of the back of one of your outer pieces, okay? So if you lay it on the lining side, you should have a lining, right sides together, an outer piece, and an outer piece. Those two are right sides together, and all of that is layered, okay? Now, let's undo our zipper pull just a little bit. Let's pull it down again about halfway. All right. And let's start. Again, lining it up with our tongue there. See that? Line it up with our tongue, lower our presser foot. Let's stitch forward and reverse. Again, take the pins out as you go, okay? When we start to get close to our zipper pull, I'm starting to get close, which is why it's pulling my fabric away. We're gonna stop, lift up our presser foot, all right? And then we're gonna pull that zipper out of the way. Let's pull it forward. We might have to move it one more time. It's a little different when you're on this side. Oh, we're almost there. Good job. All right, so see how I'm getting close here and I had moved that zipper forward, that zipper pull forward. I'm gonna have to move it back just a little bit so that I can finish out this area. All right, we did it. We have our zipper in. Let's take a look. Look at that, look at that. Oh my gosh, that looks so awesome. All right, let's go over to the iron and we're gonna iron this down so we can do a top stitch. We wanna get rid of some of the bulk at the top where the zipper is. So what you wanna do is just take this seam allowance here of the outer fabric, and we're just gonna cut half of that away. I'm just going along here. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm just cutting half of that away, all right? And we're gonna flip it around, flip it over. I'm just on the outer side. Again, separate it from your zipper, and we're gonna cut half of that away. So we're gonna iron, and the way we're gonna iron is we wanna separate the lining on the back, okay? And separate the lining on the outer on the front. All right, you can close up your zipper. And we're just gonna press along here. Now, you don't wanna end up melting your teeth, so don't have your iron all up on your zipper, okay? Otherwise, you've done all that hard work for nothing. Just make sure that your fabric is all pulled away from your zipper. And then we're going to flip it over on the back, because what happens a lot of the time, that lining likes to ride up and you can't see it when you're ironing the front. So make sure it's pulled away from the zipper again. All right. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a top stitch. We're gonna stitch on the right side of our fabric, and we're gonna stitch right on across here, okay? All right, it's time to top stitch. That means we're gonna stitch on the right side of our fabric. So our fabric looks like this. We're on the pretty side. If I were to flip it back, you could see that's the lining. So keep it out just like so. We are still using our zipper foot. We're gonna move our needle over to the left, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up the edge, the left side of that presser foot with where our fabric and our zipper meet. So we're gonna travel just like so, okay? Tell you what, it is hard to sew straight lines when you are recording yourself sewing. It is definitely an art. All right, we have got our top stitching done. That looks so good. All right, I have grabbed our ruffle, okay, our long piece of ruffle here. And I forgot to tell you something when we were ironing. On the ends, that short end of the ruffle, turn it back just 1/4 of an inch and press it. Do that for both of your short ends, okay? Just take it, turn it back 1/4 of an inch and press it. That way that raw edge is gonna be sandwiched inside and we won't have any raveling happening, okay? So do that for both ends. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stitch across just 1/4 of an inch, okay? I have put my regular presser foot back on the machine, okay? And I have taken my needle position and put it back in the center. And I'm gonna lower my presser foot here. I'm gonna come forward just a little bit, just because it's such a small piece. And we're gonna stitch forward, reverse. Okay, we are getting so close. It is ruffle time. I know, if y'all need a break, take a break, come back to this part, but it is ruffle time and I'm so excited. I love ruffles. What you want to do with a sewing machine is this dial at the top of the sewing machine is your tension dial, okay? On this particular machine, that's where it's located. You're gonna turn it to the highest point, which is 9 on this machine, okay? And then you wanna go to your stitch length, and to access your stitch length on this machine, you're gonna hit the upper right hand button here. It shows a zigzag as well as a straight stitch. You're gonna press that, and where it has length, you're gonna increase it to its highest point, okay? And 5 is gonna be its highest point, and select okay. All right, and now one thing you wanna do is, I use the scissors a lot on this machine, which means when I use the scissor button, it cuts. And so if it cuts the thread, you know, my bobbin thread is not gonna be showing. So when you're doing a ruffle, a gathering stitch, we need both threads, okay? So if you'll just take yourself a little scrap of fabric and just do a couple stitches, stop. This time, don't hit your scissors. Just lift up your needle. You lift up your presser foot, and as you can see, now we have 2 threads coming out, all right? So cut close to your scrap fabric, all right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull both those threads out, all right? Pull both those threads out till it's about the inner part of your arm, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Till about the bend of your arm. Pull it out that long, okay? And then just put it to the back of your machine. All right, we are going to take our material now, all right? And we're gonna line it up with the right side of the presser foot here. Now, something that we're gonna do different when we're doing ruffles, when we're doing gathering stitching, that's kind of an interchangeable term, you are not going to reverse. I repeat, you are not going to reverse stitch or back stitch at all. We don't want any locking of the stitching at all right here, because we want that fabric to be able to slide down the thread and move like we want it to move, okay? So do not reverse, just stitch all the way across. Now the side that I'm on the cut edge. This side over here is the folded edge, okay? We're stitching on the raw cut edge. And if you notice, look what he's doing. Do y'all see that? He's gathering up. All right, when you get to the end, do not hit your scissors. Just lift up the presser foot, lift up the needle, and pull your fabric out. Again, leaving that tail, the 2 strings of thread, leave that tail, again, long enough to reach the bend of your inner arm, okay? And then cut your thread. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at that. We've got ruffles. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to put it on the outer fabric. All right, now we have our bag that's partially done, and we have our ruffle. And we've got to join these two together in holy matrimony, okay? So what you want to do is take your bag portion. I like to have my zipper pull from left to right. That's just because I'm right-handed. It's up to you which side you choose. But you want to separate it from the lining, okay? So it's just the outer material, okay? So just the outer material, okay? So lay that nice and flat, have everything, all the lining out of the way, okay? Now, if you notice, with my machine, the fabric naturally started to ruffle on its own, okay? I had this part to smooth out because I wanted to show you in case your machine does not ruffle it up naturally, and that's okay if it doesn't, it's fine, not a big deal. I'm going to show you how you can still get that ruffle look. And what you're going to do, you're only going to take one thread. It doesn't matter which thread you actually choose. Just take one thread. You're not going to pull the thread. Do not pull the thread, okay? You're just going to hold it in your hand. And then the fabric is going to begin to slide, okay? See how I'm sliding it? I'm holding the fabric in my hand, okay? And I'm just gonna slide. You have to take your time. Gently slide it down. See how it's gathering up? And gently slide it down. You don't wanna pull too hard. Otherwise, you don't wanna pull at all actually. Otherwise, this thread can snap. Now what you can do to be safe, you'll see on a lot of like commercial patterns, is they'll do 2 rows. You can do 2 rows just in case one snaps, okay? What you wanna do is you wanna ruffle this up to where it fits around the outside of the bag. What I mean by that is, take your ruffle, line it up with right here where our top stitching is, line our ruffle. Line your ruffle up right there, okay? And then I want you to put a pin right there. Make sure everything is out of the way. And let's just place a pin here. All right. And what we want to do is we want to ruffle this up, gather this material up to where it's going to fit all the way around. Now, mind you, it's going to curve right here, so it's not going to be pointy. We want it to keep going till we get all the way around here, okay? So I've got some more gathering. Remember how I laid that flat so you can get that example? So I need to keep going until I get it all. So what I do is I'll put a pin here. And I'm going to put a pin right here. That way I know how much I need to go, because that right here looks really good. Again, holding that fabric, let it slide down that thread. And this just takes some practice, y'all. I've been doing this since I was 12. And let's just say I've got a little bit of gray hair. So I've been doing this a while, so that looks good. All right. So as you can see here, we are now matching up with our edge. So I'm gonna pin this in place. Actually, let me put a little bit more gather right there. I don't want it to be flat. I'm going to pin it and double check before I tie anything off. Yes, that looks so good. Okay, so once you get it to where you want it to be, you're going to take your 2 strings and you're just going to tie a knot. And you want to tie a knot where it's nice and close. And then you can cut that thread. Do the same for the other side. Take those 2 long strings, tie a knot, and that'll keep that gather from moving on you. All right. Okay, I've got everything pinned. If you can see here, everything is just pinned. That's all I did was put everything pinned in place. This is what your corner is gonna look like, okay? See how it's just rounding that corner a little bit? Put you some pins there and then continue to pin all the way around, okay? Until you get back up to the top. Again, we're not going past, we don't wanna go past this top stitch area, okay? And this is what the back should look like. You should just only be on one side of the outer piece. All right, let's go sew it. And when we sew it, we're gonna sew on that same stitch line that we did the gathering, okay? All right, we're back, we're ready to stitch. Now we can put our settings back to normal, how we had been using. I'm going to turn my tension down. I actually like to have it on 6 for a lot of my projects. And for here, all I have to do is just press the center, number 3. And it goes back to where the default setting is, okay? And we don't have to change anything else. We can go back to our regular stitching, reversing, all that good stuff, okay? So take your fabric and let me get my pin magnet here. All right. We are going to start lining up that stitch line with the middle of our presser foot, and we're going to stitch right down. Okay. Again, we're not going to stitch over any pin, so go ahead and lower your presser foot, stitch forward and reverse. And we're going to just stitch all the way around, okay? All right, we have our ruffle stitched on. Do y'all want to see a sneak peek? Look at that. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Look at that, look at that. Oh, that looks awesome. All right, now we're gonna put everything together. Okay guys, we're on the home stretch. Our ruffles on, we are ready to put everything together. So what you want to do is take your zipper, unzip it, at least about halfway is fine. You are going to take just your outer fabrics and put them right sides together, okay? But you know what? I noticed something. Let's pin these ruffles, the little corners, out of the way so they don't fold or do something weird. So let's just be safe with that. Okay. So they're not in our way. Okay, I feel better. Now, take your outer, fold it down. We're gonna match it up with our bottom corner. Okay. And I'm gonna flip it over because I wanna see our stitch line so that I know, you know, where to stitch. So line up those corners, and if you can see there, we can see our stitch line. Can't seem to grab a pin right now. All right, pin that in place. Do the same with your other corner. Line that up. Pin it in place. And then we're going to finish pinning we're going to pin all the way around, but we need to leave an opening so that we can flip it, okay? We're going to leave an opening in our lining, okay? And so leave an opening about the size of your hand in your lining. Just about 4 fingers is plenty, all right? And what I like to do is I always like to put a double pin on both sides of my opening. So if I get distracted for some reason, I know when I see those double pins, oh, I gotta stop. Okay. All right, so we're going to pin all the way around, and we're going to stitch that as well. Okay, I am starting on my lining side, okay? Remember how we left an opening? All right, we're going to start on this side here and work our way all the way around so that we stop here and this remains open. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line myself up with the edge of the presser foot, okay? And I'm going to move my needle position though. I'm going to move my needle position over to the left, okay? So if you see here, my needle is right here on the left side, okay? That gives me about 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, okay? And so I'm going to follow this 5/8 of an inch line on my throat plate here. So that means there'll be a little bit of fabric hanging out, all right? And I'm going to stitch forward and reverse and go all the way around. Here we go. When I get to a corner, I stop. I'm going to turn, leaving my needle down. Don't lift your needle up, okay? Leave it down, and I'm going to continue on. Now, we are going over a thick area right here, okay? Our zipper tab, you know, where the lining and the outer meet. So take your time. Remember, pull from the back. And keep on going. And as you can see here, it's allowing my stitch line to be just to the left, just inward a little bit from where I had my ruffle stitch. That way I won't see my ruffle stitch at all when I go to flip it to the right side. All of that will be hidden. And just follow that curve. And just so that you have an idea, that stitch line is in the middle of my presser foot. And I'm just following that curve. All right, we're at the curve again. So make sure it's in the middle of the presser foot, the stitch line that you already did. We're coming over a thick area again. going to pivot that last corner. All right, we're going to go to those double pins and reverse. All right, good job. Now, we want to cut our corners 45 degrees. Don't cut your stitch line. Cut all that off. All right, it's the moment of truth. Now remember, we've got pins in here, so be careful when you're reaching in. I want you to go ahead and start turning it to the right side. Oh my goodness, that is the cutest thing. That is the cutest thing. Look at that. Okay. Finish pushing everything out and then take your lining. You can unzip it some more. And where it's naturally turning in, you're going to go ahead and you're going to stitch that across to close your opening up. Oh my goodness, y'all. Look, look. Oh my goodness. We did it. I feel like Dora. We did it. We made us a ruffle bag. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is the cutest thing. Yes! I'm so excited. I love this. This is super cute.